Hello, I'm Persolaise. Welcome to episode 14 of Love at First Scent. This time coming to you live from YouTube. I think, as usual, we should start by smelling a perfume, and I want to turn my attention straight away to this one here because I received the sample yesterday, and I'm genuinely very, very curious to smell it. I'm always curious to smell things, but I'm sort of extra curious to smell this one. And this is the latest one from Louis Vuitton, which is going to be on general release. I think in still a few months away. I want to say August. I don't have the official press release yet, but it is going to be available in Harrods sooner than that. I believe in a few weeks' time. Now, I don't know if you can see the name of the fragrance clearly. If you can't, that is something that I will address after we've smelt it. It may be an issue to do with the fact that this is on YouTube rather than Facebook, but we will come back to that. So, we'll start with this one, and then I'll do my usual hellos, etc. It's called Ombre Nomade, which I guess means nomad shadow, nomadic shadow. I don't know if nomad there is an adjective. Um, the first addition to Roxana says hello. Thank you for tuning in. Actually, this is a point. The comments look very different on YouTube compared to how they do on Facebook. Um, so I wonder if I can get this feed live on my tablet as well. Turn the volume down so that I can see comments as they come up. I wonder if that'll work. Technology. Oh, Angeline says hi. I hope I haven't missed anybody because the comments seem to fade. And that's it. It's gone. And this is bad, isn't it? I should have tested this out first. Hang on, what's this comment button here? Oh, look, I think I can see people's comments. Right, that's clever. So far, only Roxana and Angeline have said hello. Hello to you both. Thank you very much for tuning in. Right, this is Ombre Nomade from Louis Vuitton, the first edition. Oh, hello. Lots of greetings from London, from Peggy, and from Vanderbloom. Thank you very much for all the hellos. Oh, my goodness, lots of hellos coming through. Anne as well. Happy live sniffing. Yes, hopefully it will be happy live sniffing. Um, keep the comments coming, by the way. Oh, look. Dark bottle. Wasn't expecting that. Um, Sorry, I'm looking down because I want to see what it looks like. Okay, I've answered my question. You can see the text the correct way round, which is good. Whereas in the sort of monitor camera thing that I've got here just to see what I'm doing, I've got the text the wrong way around, but that's okay. As long as you can read it correctly, that's fine. So, where was I? This is going to be the first addition to the debut feminine collection that Louis Vuitton released last year. Anne says, can't find any emojis to send. I don't know what I can do to help you with that. Look, somebody find Anne's emojis. Um, and I'm guessing from the little that I know about it is that they kind of technically call them all unisex anyway, but I think this is meant to be more for the Middle Eastern market, and I guess that means you already know what ingredient we're talking about here. Um, it's the dreaded three-letter word. Not necessarily dreaded if it's been done well, but let's see. Let us smell it. All of the Louis Vuitton scents, of course, are made by Jacques Cavalier. He is their exclusive in-house nose. There is some more exciting news coming from Louis Vuitton literally within the next few days. So stay tuned for that. I may be able to talk about something as well on Monday in relation to Louis Vuitton. But let us smell this, and then we'll say hello to each other properly and ask ourselves where we are. And I'll talk about the joys of doing this on YouTube rather than Facebook. Okay, here we go. First fragrance of the day, Ombre Nomade from Louis Vuitton in a rather interesting dark-hued bottle. And guess what? You get an immediate whiff of, who wants to say it first? Oud. Because that's what this is meant to be. It's meant to be Louis Vuitton's first oud in this modern current range. Right, now is probably not the time. Hello, who's that? how do you say your tag there? Is that Sunday? Anyway, hello to you. Um, Now is not the time to get into the whole thing of is it genuine oud, is it not genuine oud, as in this. So I don't mean genuine actually. Sorry, I should say natural. Is it natural or synthetic oud? There are plenty of really really good synthetic ouds out there. In fact, one of the reasons why we are still in the throes of this oud trend is simply because very very good synthetic ouds have been made. I'm not going to get into as well the whole thing of whether ouds are good or not, but just like with any other fragrance genre, it all depends on how something has been done. You can have very good citrus colognes and you can have very poor citrus colognes. I personally do love a good oud. Not just love, I adore a good oud. You know, something like Andy Towers' new oud is great. I love the Frederic Malle oud called The Night, and you know, going back even further, things like M7 from Yves Saint Laurent. Maybe not so much the current iteration, but I loved M7 when it first came out. So where I am going with all of this is that this one from Louis Vuitton doesn't rock the boat, at least so far. It's definitely oud as leather, so much more tannery like rather than medicinal animalic. Of course, those descriptors have a few things in common with each other anyway, but if you think of, for instance, Oud Cuir d'Arabie from Montal, which is again another superb one, that at least at first whiff is much, much more animalic and medicinal than this one. In fact, this is almost heading into Tuscan leather territory, for Tuscan leather from Tom Ford, because it seems to have that tart fruit note at the top for contrast, you know, so maybe something like raspberry. But it's not coarse, it's not crude. There is that kind of French Louis Vuitton refinement, sophistication that you might hope for from from the brand. But yeah, more and more actually, I'm thinking Tuscan leather. So Tuscan leather with that whiff of super leathery, heated oud. Completely has Madame Persolaise's name all over it. Definite rose coming through as well, which is a kind of classic current oud done by Western perfume houses combo: leather, rose, heavy woods in the base, probably lots of patchouli. Maybe the fruit note makes it a little bit different. In that sense, it reminds me of another oud from Juliet Has a Gun. I'd be interested to hear if you have favourite ouds actually, or whether you're completely and utterly sick of the whole oud thing. But it has Madame Persolaise's name written all over it, and I shall ask her what she thinks when this broadcast is over. She loves Oud Isfahan from Dior, um, and that is a lot rougher than this, because Madame Persolaise does also actually quite like her ouds rough. But I have a feeling she'll go for this one. So at least at this stage, let's see how it dries down. Um, as I said, nothing earth-shattering, but I suspect it will do very well. I suspect, the sort of Louis Vuitton shopper going into Harrods will have a sniff and think, okay, I need another oud in my life, so why can't it be a Louis Vuitton one? I like the name, I do like the name, and I do like this dark bottle. I think it's quite interesting that they've differentiated from the rest of the range, because it's exactly the same shape, but it's not completely transparent like the other Louis Vuitton bottles are. But I'm not sure I can say terribly more about it. We've smelt this before. Uh, do I find it tame for now? Yeah, maybe tame is a good one. I mean, as tame as ouds get, because oud is never going to be completely tame, is it? It's not a wallflower. But maybe if you actually want an oud that doesn't run the risk of offending every single person in the office, maybe this will be the one to go for. Um, it's quite a French, sophisticated kind of oud, without being a wallflower either. Um, so I think at the moment, what I'm saying is we're filing this under very well done. But if you're an oud freak, which some of us are, you may probably want to look elsewhere. So, blotter gets put away, we shall come back to it. And at this stage, I say hello properly and welcome to episode 14 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise. And obviously, you know this because you're watching it on YouTube. We are now on YouTube rather than Facebook. And the reason for that is because you will know that the previous episodes, the one, all the way from episode number 1, which I started last year, they all went out on Facebook Live. And then a few days after that, the recorded video was uploaded onto my YouTube channel. And a few people got in touch and a few people left comments saying that they'd appreciate it if I did a live broadcast on YouTube so that people could actually join in on YouTube as well and chat and interact. So I have given in to your kind and polite requests. So now that I've done that, you need to interact and you need to chat and you need to give me thumbs up and likes and all the rest of it. Amy says, hello, thanks for the YouTube live. You're very welcome, Amy. Thank you very much for tuning in. But having said all of that, I'll kind of do the reverse of what I would normally do, so that when this video is when this broadcast is over, I believe what happens is that YouTube automatically uploads it as a saved video. So then what I will do is I will link to it from my Facebook page so that people on Facebook can also watch it in a few days' time. But otherwise, I hope to try to keep everything pretty much exactly the same. The idea, for those of you who are not aware yet, is that this is meant to be the kind of flip side of what I do on my blog, in the sense that on my blog I take time to write carefully considered reviews. This is meant to be instant reactions, ideally things that I've never ever smelt before. Sometimes I cheat. David says, hello, I'm not sure how to give you multiple likes. Good point, actually. You can't do multiple likes on YouTube like you can. That's it. I'm not doing it on YouTube anymore. I want multiple likes. I'm not coming here for single likes. No, I think you're right. I think it can only be one like, because this is YouTube. YouTube is mean with likes. However, if you are now watching on Facebook, the recorded version, go with the multiple likes, otherwise I shall be cross. If you are watching on Facebook, please feel free to ask a question, leave comments, and obviously if you're watching after the live broadcast on YouTube, leave a comment as well. And as per usual, what I will do, Anne says, I like that my phone alerts me that you are live on YouTube. A little bit surreal. What does it say? Does it say, stop what you're doing now and go onto Persolaise's YouTube channel? Smiles from Anne and Van. I'm smiling back. This is emoji smile. What I was going to say is that I always put up as well a list of the perfumes that we have smelt in any given episode, and then a few hours after... Oh, you found the emojis, good. A few hours after the initial sniff, I give you an update on how the blotters have been doing. And also another thing, somebody contacted me and asked where the bottles come from, where the samples come from. And some of you may be aware that on Facebook and on YouTube, actually, in the blurb, in the write-up that you can do under the video, I do specify exactly which ones I have obtained and which ones have come from the brands themselves. That never has any bearing on what I say about the perfumes, same as on my blog. And actually, if you go back, you will see that I'm equally positive and negative. Oh yes, says you're live on YouTube. Great, greetings from Germany. Wow. Actually, where are you all? I love finding out where you all are, because I'm in the south of England, as some of you may know. Grey skies, raining on and off today, much colder than it was last week. I would love to find out where you are. But what I was saying is that if you look back over some of the videos, you will see that the full range of opinions from positive to negative is expressed, both about perfumes that I have obtained myself and about ones that have been provided by the brands, because that's the deal with Persolaise. It's not floating across the screen, but this is the best I can do, Anne says. Oh, okay. Greetings from Sweden. Wow, I would love one place I've never been to, well, one of many, but I would love to see Sweden. We've got some rather exciting news from Sweden today, haven't we? Because ABBA have announced that we're going to have new music from them before the end of the year. And somebody says having coffee, and the comment faded away. What was that comment? That's so annoying. That is annoying. I can't go back on YouTube and look at people's comments. I just managed to catch somebody saying having a coffee in California, so enjoy the coffee in California. I suppose the comments will be there when I go back and look at the videos. Anyway, time for me to shut up. We've only done one perfume and we've already been on for 15 minutes. Big news for sure about ABBA, yes, I know. Sunny afternoon in Paris. Ah, wonderful. So we've already gone all the way from California to Sweden, Europe. What I would like to try next, and by the way, I can take requests. These guys are here for you to shout about, but I have one that is hidden because, as has been the pattern for the last two videos, I'm going to do a classic choice as well, and that is tucked away. Would somebody like to have a... It is a very rainy afternoon in London. Yeah, it is down here as well. We deserve some more sunshine. Try and have a guess about what the classic choice is going to be for today. It's from the 80s, and it's named after a precious metal. So from the 80s, named after a precious metal. It'll be revealed probably in a couple of perfumes' time. I would like to go for this one next because, again, I'm very, very genuinely curious to try it. This is the new one, if you can see, from Maison Francis Kurkdjian for his own range. And this is the Forte version of Aqua Celestia. I believe it was last year that he released the first version of his Aqua Celestia. Very, very talented, clever guy, Monsieur Kurkdjian, as a lot of us know. Is that Hearts Van der Bloom because of that? Let's hope it's good. And he knows what he's doing. You know, he has put together a very, very carefully curated range. It's not always to the tastes of people who maybe like their perfumes to be a little bit out there, although he did give us the amazing, beautiful Absolu pour le Soir, which I think you can now only maybe get from his boutique. Amazing perfume, because what he wants is perfumes that are more accessible, more everyday sorts of perfumes, and I think he once said that actually, in his mind, he composes perfumes for his range with a view to ensuring that every single base, every eventuality in somebody's life is covered. So a perfume for going to work, a perfume for a job interview, a perfume for a fun night out, a perfume for a more sort of grown-up, sedate night out, etc., etc., etc. So he's also got light things for people to wear, several aquas. Aqua Universalis, I think, is still his best-selling one from his range. And some of them have been brought out in these stronger Forte versions. And so this is the Forte version of Aqua Celestia. Always really, really nice packaging from him. We had one of his actually in the last video, the extrait version of his oud, which I have worn a lot since the last video. Really, really great stuff. Do check it out. Another oud, actually. David says, I definitely appreciate perfumers who think about the wearer as much as their art. Yes, he does. And he will do wacky out there things as well. You know, he's made the smell of blood for it was either an exhibition or an installation somewhere. He hasn't released it. I have smelt it. To me, it was actually much more the smell of a hospital rather than the smell of blood, but that in itself is an interesting kind of link. Great packaging, which I'm now going to throw around the room. And another reveal. He knows about a nice reveal. We like a good reveal, don't we? And here, oh, and there's a little message with a bottle. And finally, the aqua in question itself. Should we do the message first? I'm curious about this message. Or maybe I shouldn't. No, I should smell it first. So, for those of you who remember, comment. If you don't do full screen, you can pull up comments from the bottom and they should remain there instead of appearing and vanishing on the left of the screen. Thank you. I do agree that he makes perfume and it's faded away. Right, if I don't do full screen, like let's try this again. If I don't do full screen, he said confidently. I'm not full screen now and I can't see comments. Am I just being a bit dense? No comments and I'm not full screen. Tell me what you meant again. Hang on, let's try again. Let's try here. The number of likes has been updated. Help! No, can't do it. Oh, okay. But I pressed that button before and maybe I need to refresh. So thank you very much, Amy. If you don't do full screen, you can pull up comments from the bottom and they should remain there instead of appearing and vanishing on the left of the screen. Somebody said, I do agree that he makes perfumes for, sorry, that's eGemini618. I do agree that he makes perfumes for everyday situations. Every scent can't be conceptual. Yes, and actually you could say that that is the concept, to make things for everyday situations. Liz says, thanks from me too. You're welcome. What are you thanking me for? But you're welcome anyway. Pull up comments from bottom. Amy says, Amy's been very patient with me. Thank you very much. Maybe hold the tablet vertically. Yeah, they're here now, but they might vanish. We'll get there. But thank you. This is why I love the internet. Thank you very much for the help. Aqua Celestia Forte coming up. You're all obviously much more experienced with YouTube Live than I am. I should have watched a few YouTubes Live before doing this, but never mind. Sometimes it's nice to just plunge in. The original Aqua Celestia was a really, really beautiful lime citrus. I love lime anyway, with a nice kind of minty note. Never tried any Kurkdjian, says Mr. How do you say that? Mr. Kjelqvist? Never tried any Kurkdjian, but have 3 from Elie Saab, which of course, yeah, are all made by him. Vetiver, Ombre, and Gardenia. Any similarities with any of his Kurkdjians? Only in the sense that they're very, very clean, clear, streamlined, unfussy compositions, generally. Absolute Pour le Soir from his MFK line was an exception, because that's just like this filth fest. It was so good. Tons of civet and this honeyed saffron note. Anyway, what am I getting here already? Ah, see, how can you not smile as soon as you get a whiff of a really, really nicely done citrusy note? Much stronger with the mint here. We like this so far. Such a shame we've just got such rubbish weather, because you'd kind of want to run in the sunshine, spraying yourself with this Forte. It's got that kind of feel. You'd almost want it to be in a kind of splash bottle. And you know what? Guerlain's Herba Fresca, it's hard not to think of Herba Fresca with something that's got a kind of sweet chewing gummy mint note. But it's almost like the less weird, more accessible, more everyday, not going to offend people in the office, not going to make people go, what the hell is that, version of Herba Fresca. With a stronger citrus note, with that lovely, almost sherbety, sharp lime note, which when you smell, you can't help but see like a bowl of limes, or imagine yourself squeezing lime juice from a lime that you've just perfectly cut in half with a sharp knife. You know, everything's like, and you kind of screw up your mouth, but you enjoy it with nice. And there's a kind of soapiness in the base that maybe comes from the musks. Now, here's my thought though on these Forte versions. When you make a scent whose whole point is to be light and fresh and fleeting and energetic and effervescent, when you then do a stronger version, I think you run the risk of defeating the object, defeating the purpose of the whole thing. Joe says, hi Persolaise, glad to see you live on YouTube. This seems to be working, by the way. I seem to be getting the comments, so thank you very much, everybody. All I seem to need to do is to tap, and they come up. Thank you. Much gratitude to my amazing, superiorly YouTube knowledged viewers. And thank you very much for tuning in, Joe. Thanks for sort of coming over from Facebook. My thoughts are, though, that when you do this, I still kind of end up thinking that the original version was better. Maybe the original versions of these things don't tend to last as long. But that's kind of the point of these sorts of perfumes. They're meant to be this fleeting whiff of lightness, this perfect effervescence, just like you catch something on the wind. Because I would imagine, I don't know for a fact, but I would imagine that what he's done to make this forte, to make it stronger, is to maybe up the musks, up some of the heavier materials, and so then the whole thing does feel as though it's dragged down a little bit. It doesn't have that whoosh, of these supercharged citruses and light notes flying back and forth. It's like Frederic Malle's Cologne and Bigarade. Personally, the one done by Jean-Claude Helena. Personally, I think it is one of the most beautiful colognes ever made. And I know people say that a lot of people prefer the Bigarade Concentré because it lasts longer, but it just doesn't have that energy. It doesn't have that color. It doesn't have that holographic extraordinariness as the Cologne Bigarade does. And that is the point of a cologne. It's not meant to last. It's meant to give you an instant whoosh. Joe says, I actually prefer the EDT version of all the 3 Aqua fragrances by Kurkdjian. I like them airy and lightweight. Yes, so do I, completely. But I think, and again, I'm not a brand spokesperson, I don't know for a fact, I think the stronger ones tend to do better because people somehow have this idea that they're wasting their money if they're buying something that doesn't last as long. Van der Bloom says as well that they agree with Joe. So see, we know this stuff. We are the ones in the know. We know what the good stuff is out there. But still, this is nicely done. And you know what else it reminds me of as well? It reminds me of You or Someone Like You from État Libre d'Orange last year, which again was a kind of minty, citrusy, limey rose with a nice musky base. I wore that a lot actually recently again on some travels in a hot country. I may mention that in a second. So nicely done. And I think we should stick with colognes. And I would like to try one of these 2 new colognes from L'Artisan Parfumeur. One of them is called Champ de Fleurs, and this one is Champ de Bay. And I would like to try this one purely because, 2 reasons. I like the idea of a floral cologne. I think they're interesting. And it's also by Anne Flippo. And I think she's brilliant. No disrespect to the other perfumer, who is Evelyn Boulanger. But Anne Flippo is always interesting to watch. The iris that she did, I'm pretty sure it was Anne Flippo, the iris pallida that she did for L'Artisan years and years and years ago. I still have a few drops of it left. Fantastic iris, probably one of the best sort of single note iris perfumes ever. And L'Artisan, since they went through their repackaging, since they were bought up by Pooch, Gemini says, I've been waiting for a reviewer to do this one. What do you mean? Do you mean the L'Artisan? Well, here you go. This is why you tune into Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, here on YouTube. Since the whole Pooch takeover, L'Artisan have gone, pink, have gone all out with colognes. I don't know if this one is a limited edition or not, or sort of seasonal, but let us find out. Look how wonderfully messy we're making this desk, but it's all part of the fun, I suppose. Pink seems to be the theme of the day, I think. So, Champ de Fleurs by Anne Flippo, a new eau de cologne from L'Artisan Parfumeur. Please keep the comments coming, questions if you want to interact with each other and sort of say, oh my goodness, why is he wearing that hideous blue shirt? That's fine, I shall not be offended. Hello Persolaise from Hungary, amazing. It's my first time watching you live. So excited. Also about the L'Artisans. Well, thank you very much. I used to know how you say hello in Hungarian, and I can't remember now. Oh, that's really bad. Never mind. So I've been to Budapest once. Great city. But anyway, How do you even say that? No, I don't remember that. That funny just thought about your shirt. Was it a good thought about my shirt? If it was not a good thought, please keep it to yourself, because I like this shirt. Okay, Champ de Fleurs, L'Artisan. Oh, like see you. Okay, I get it. So, like in Polish, it might be something like cześć or salut or something like that. Ooh, hang on. Definitely not hideous. Thank you very much. You have excellent taste. Oh, and Joe was in Budapest 3 weeks ago. Loved the city. It is a really, really great city, isn't it? Really fun. When we went, though, it was freezing cold, which was fine, but I did think this might be a bit more comfortable if it were warmer. You were just wondering if this shirt was Missoni. No, it's not. It's actually Fab India, which is a wonderful Indian shop. But yeah, it is a bit Missoni, actually. You're right. No, it is not Missoni. It is Fab India, purchased by myself. I don't get clothes sent for free. Not yet, anyway. So this is a white floral cologne. Interesting. So, you know, the geek in me is immediately thinking, okay, well, if it's a white floral, how on earth is it a cologne? But as we know, we're supposed to expand our definition of colognes. The classic cologne, obviously, is just citruses and herbs, heavy on rosemary. But now, anything... Van der Bloem has to leave now. Enjoy, everyone. Well, listen, thank you very much for tuning in. Really, really appreciate it. And obviously, the rest of the video will be on YouTube. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. By the way, if anybody else needs to go, you know, that's fine. I won't cry much. So yes, if I hadn't been told by the packaging that this is an eau de cologne, I would right now be thinking, this is a very light, very translucent, very gentle, white floral, but still definitely a white floral. Is it at all like Royal Mayfair? Asks Liz. Royal Mayfair. You'll have to help me out. I've gone blank. Royal Mayfair from? From Creed. No, don't say Creed. What are you trying to do to me? Oh God, everybody's going to be saying Creed now. Do you know what? I generally try to block out memories of most creeds that I have smelled, so I would have to revisit Royal Mayfair, but for the moment, let's say that no, it's not like Royal Mayfair, because most creeds make me want to end my life rather hurriedly, and this is not doing that so far. What's this comment? If Kanye West and Trump collaborated on a scent for the Yeezy brand, what it would be like? We don't want to know. Why would you even put an idea like that out into the world? Amy is lolling as we speak, and Joe says, are you smelling Champ de Fleur or Champ de Bay? No, it's the Fleur one. It's the Fleur. Here, look. Proof. It's the flowers one. Mr. Krempis says, that's harsh. I know it's harsh, but I'm telling you, I have yet to come across a creed that certainly I have yet to come across a creed that I think is worth the money. But here we go again. This is like a rerun of the Love at First Scent that I did for Viking, which was just dreadful. I do not get the fuss about Aventus. Certainly don't get the fuss about Aventus for her. I thought that was beyond dreadful. Well, Mayfair is really nice. Okay, cool. The next time I have an opportunity to smell Royal Mayfair, I will check it out. Joe says Creed is a grand scam. Yeah, see, I would be inclined to agree. But, having said all of that, obviously, what is being presented to you right now here is my opinion, and what I always say to people is, ultimately, if you find a fragrance that you like, even if it's by Creed, then please continue to wear it and enjoy wearing it, and don't let anybody persuade you otherwise. Except maybe if it's Creed. No. So, yeah, Royal Mayfair, maybe it was like in one nostril, out the other. What is interesting about this one is that it definitely has a touch of the indolic. So in other words, it has that mothball-y sense that you would get from a white floral. And something maybe lilac-y, or some other floral is in there. When you sort of start heading into the territory of softer florals like maybe freesias and lily, not lily of the valley. Well, maybe lily of the valley actually, but I was going to say freesias and lilacs. So jasmine. Yes, sorry, did I not say jasmine? Yeah, sorry, that was what was in my head. So absolutely, jasmine rather than I'm not getting tuberose, not really particularly getting ylang ylang or gardenia. Yeah, jasmine. Um, Sorry, jasmine was in my head, but obviously didn't quite make it to the because you all killed me when you said Creed. Thank you very much. You've gone from he's wearing Missoni to is it like Creed? So there's enough to completely mess with my head. But I'd be curious to see what it's like on skin, because the indolic qualities, because indoles, as you know, the mothbally smell can be quite dry, and so you think, okay, well, is that what you want when you reach for something that is a cologne? Um, it's interesting that they've kind of given it this very, very pale pink. You probably can't even see that, but it's like this sort of blush pink color. It doesn't smell like that. It smells. It smells a lot more grey. Indoles were not about poop. Um, to an extent, that's more scatole. That's why we sort of get the word scatological. Certainly, that they will have a kind of fecal element to them, but they are much more about that mothball type smell. But they're all sort of related. They're all related to the smells of the nether regions, which is why some people think that is what gives them, when used in the right quantity, in minimal quantities, that's what gives decay. Yeah, that kind of thing. Absolutely. That's what gives the perfumes this kind of almost subliminally seductive effect, because it makes us think of intimacy and intimate parts of our body. But I'm not sure this is what I want to go for if I wanted to go for a cologne. So maybe what you just do is you'd think, okay, well, forget it. It's not really a cologne. It's just a light jasmine scent. Impressed that you can test fragrances and talk to us. Trying new scents takes all my focus. Well, I'm impressed and pleased that you think I'm doing a good job of it, because sometimes, I swear to you, sometimes at the end of the hour or whatever, I just think to myself, oh my God, I was just talking nonsense all the time. But yeah, I can probably talk behind proverbials off the proverbial. Um, but I'm just sort of saying what comes into my head. But let's see. We haven't really done press releases today, because I haven't got very many. Regular viewers will know that we often have a good laugh over the purple prose that is given to us from the brand's press releases. But I did have something for Champ de Fleurs, which I suppose I will not even be able to find now. Here we go. It's not much. It's just 2 paragraphs. And L'Artisan write-ups tend to be relatively sane, so I'm not sure we're necessarily going to, collapse into a fit of guffaws over this one. Small lily bells. There you go. Start laughing. Anyway. Small lily bells and lacy jasmine. Lacy. Actually, it's not delicate enough for that. Anyway, here we go. Small lily bells and lacy jasmine. Sounds like songs from the next Disney movie. Not the press release. Yeah, we need to do the press release. While still developing, breathe in the humidity of the dawn. A fragrance that promises optimism, as does the dawn. You see, I'm thinking this smells much more nocturnal, but anyway. Never have white flowers been so transparent. Well, yeah, actually they probably have, but never mind. This white bouquet, interpreted as a refreshing cologne, is covered with a scintillating dew. No, it's not covered in dew the way a lot of jasmines are. It's actually woodier, because that mothball element, that indolic element, is bringing woody facets to it as well. Sparkling and joyful, the top note of Champ de Fleurs exalts the grapefruit's bitterness and the brightness of a juicy pear. Okay. The delicate fruity accord then merges with the jasmine petals and the moist. Oh, they said moist! And the moist lily of the valley. Let's read that again. Moist lily of the valley, which grows in May. Thank you very much. Yes, it usually does, except it didn't in my garden this year. Thank you very much, Persolaise garden. Gradually, the white cedar. Okay, woods. Somebody's got the throwing up face. Is that because of moist. Gradually, the white cedar gives way to the musk and amber notes that envelop the bouquet with an infinite sweetness. Somebody else is throwing up as well. I'm not going to say the M word anymore. Here we go. We've gone from creed to moistness. We have everything in today's episode, ladies and gents. So anyway, the musk and amber notes envelop the bouquet with an infinite sweetness and moistness. If you keep saying moist, we will keep saying creed. Okay, fine. Deal. I am not going to say anymore. Right. A Frenchman or woman must have chosen that word. Yeah, probably. Or like, probably poor translation or something. What would the word have been? Would they have said humid? Would they have said like humide? I don't know. Right. Every single perfume deserves to be tested on skin anyway, but I'm wondering if this one particularly needs to be tested on skin. Maybe it will come across as more delicate on skin, because even though I think it's interesting as a transparent jasmine, it does not really tie in with the description that I've read here. It's not really sweet. I don't really get sweetness at all. Well, not very much anyway. But things do develop very, very differently on skin, as you all know, because you're all amazing Persolaise Love at First Scent viewers. So, after having bent your ears for over 40 minutes, I would just like to sort of say again, thank you very much for tuning into episode 14 of Love at First Scent, which is today coming live from YouTube rather than Facebook. However, it will later be uploaded or at least linked to from Facebook. So if you are watching after the broadcast on Facebook, please feel free to give me lots of likes and thumbs up and hearts and show me adoration, because I have very low self-esteem and need your validation. That's the word I was looking for. And ask questions and leave comments, and I will try to answer them all. And if you're watching on YouTube after the live broadcast, feel free to leave comments, ask questions in the usual way. Thank you very much to everybody who's tuning in live at the moment. Please keep the comments coming. And yes, don't forget that a few hours after the broadcast, I will put up a kind of status report about how the blotters are doing. But now we get to the point in the broadcast where I look at a classic scent, because a few people said that they would like me to try things from the past as well. As far as I'm aware, unless I missed it, I don't think anybody had a guess as to what it might be. So I'll give you 10 more seconds. It's something from the 80s, and it's from a brand that's still going strong. And Beyond Paradise. We did Beyond Paradise last time, actually. Was it last time or was it 2 episodes ago? But we have done Beyond Paradise. And Beyond Paradise is not 80s. I was going to say it's 90s, but it may not even be 90s. It may be early 21st century. I can't remember. This was the first of 2 perfumes from a brand that is still... You see the bottle on the table? Oh, that Beyond Paradise. Well spotted. No, this bottle is here just to make the table look nice. This is Beyond Paradise for men. It's a little mini that I picked up years ago. But no, so it's not that one. It's not that one. But yeah, this is a classic one here. I'm going to put you out of your misery. It is the one and only Behemoth. That is Gold Man from Amouage. In its current bottle, I used to have an original style bottle of Gold Woman, which is easily one of my favorite scents for women. It's like a kind of Arabian, more operatic version of Chanel No. 5, but this is the men's one. I just love this stuff. I think I don't wear it often enough, but then, it's... I often don't get to wear the scents that I actually like, because usually I'm testing things to be reviewed. But if I had to make a top 10, a personal top 10 just for me, this would definitely be on it. But let's have a smell now. It is just... It is just great. I wish their Atars were available in the US, says eGemini. Do you know what? Who's that? Oh, Pufaki says, what do you mean? Why are you saying that? I don't get that. Right, Gold Do you mean like the cheesy puff crisps? Does that make you think of those? Where was I? Let's smell it again, and then I will sort of go off into raptures. No, somebody said atars. I think their atars have actually become nigh on impossible to get anywhere. In fact, I would need to check, but I wonder if even any of them are available anywhere, perhaps except maybe in Oman. Oh, I'm already getting it. Right, excuse me. This blotter and I need to find a room now. Oh, it's so good. It's so. Do you know it? How many of you out there know it? And it is just being transported into. That's hilarious. Sorry, did you see that comment? I meant poor you. My phone meant pufaki. What's that? Well, I only know of pufaki as a kind of cheesy puff crisp type thing, that you get like in crisp packets. Um, that's like available in Iran or used to be, and in the Middle East. So, what languages does your phone speak? Because I was thinking, and why poor me? By the way, I'm confused now. Why poor me? People are lolling their heads off. What the hell? Why poor? No, I'm completely confused now. Why poor me? Oh, oh, this is so good. Okay, okay, Persolaise, think now. Why is it so good? It is so good because it manages to be. You found your sample vial of Gold Man. Spray it now. Tell me what you think. Because it manages to be huge, massive. We're talking massive. This is probably one of the most grandiose compositions. Oh, poor me for having to test different things all the time. Oh, sarcasm. Okay, well, serves you right for your phone auto-correcting you. I actually do realize that I'm very, very lucky to be able to do this. But yes, sometimes I have to, shed a tear because I have to wear the new one from Louis Vuitton instead of being able to wear my beloved Ambi Rouge or my Lone Star Memories from Tower or my Goldman. No, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining for 1 second. Sarky. Um, why is it good? Because it is massive, symphonic, filled to the brim. You could probably sort of put down every single ingredient known to perfumery, write it on a list, and it would probably turn out that it is in here. This was done by Guy Robert, by the way, who also did Gold Woman. So even though it's large, even though it's ridiculously over the top, equally operatic, equally as the same as the woman's one. Very clear. By no means is it a mess. It is completely and utterly the work of a very talented, experienced perfumer, and it manages to be legible. So you get the rose in there, you get the patchouli, you get the aldehydes, you get the kind of sparkling citrus note. Postmodern attar, yeah, it kind of is. You get the beautiful, beautiful frankincense, and you get the balsams and the resins and spraying gold right away. Am I forgiven? Yes, you are. You don't need my forgiveness anyway, but yes, you are. Um, and what I love about this as well is that it develops in the most amazing way. I actually prefer it at the dry down stage. I mean, in the dry down stage, the part of the pleasure of wearing Goldman is that you kind of wait for that 1.5 hour mark or that 2 hour mark when it just becomes this incredibly powdery, balsamic, resinous richness. You feel like you've been transported to epic biblical lands, and somehow it just manages to be so many things at the same time: complex and legible, grand and really, really quite floral, but still masculine. I'm going to read this comment on the tablet because it's going to find a way. Angeline says, I kept thinking of Calèche, which is what I'm wearing, that gloriousness. It was also Guy Robert. Yes, yeah, you're right. It was Guy Robert, yeah. See, that's why I have the best viewers and followers. And somebody's saying, I just learned, no, don't go away comment. I've just learned there exists something like alcohol-free perfumes. What are carrier agents other than alcohol? They use an alcohol-free sense. Does the carrier agent actually affect the smell? Can we come back to that one in a second? I promise I will come back to that in a sec. And live YouTube broadcast thumbs up. Thank you. Greetings from Slovakia. Hi from Slovakia, Ula. Thank you very much for tuning in. So, and the number of people who will comment when I wear this, I'll never forget in my sort of, in my day job, in my other life. There was once a time when I had quite a small office. It was great that I had an office to myself because, of course, that doesn't happen so much in the modern world. But I did have an office to myself. And because it was a small office, whatever perfume I was wearing, even if it was quite faint, just really filled the space massively. And I remember a member of my team coming into my office when I was wearing Gold Man. And we were talking about work stuff, discussing issues, etc., etc. And then at the end, she sort of stood up and she said, and by the way, the perfume you're wearing today, and I said, yes. She goes, you can wear it again. I thought, okay, that's as far as a professional compliment can go. But everybody comments on Gold Man, and it is, I suppose, for me, the ultimate expression of super confident masculinity. So this, a little bit like Abbey Rouge. Abbey Rouge I like for different reasons, because Abbey Rouge and sophistication, because even though it has lots and lots of notes in it which you wouldn't necessarily normally associate with masculinity, but not in the West, at least, Gold Man pushes them to the forefront because the whole idea, I think, is of somebody who is completely comfortable in whatever their masculinity happens to be. Whether it's a straight masculinity or a gay masculinity or somewhere in between masculinity. It just doesn't take. It is completely secure and completely confident and completely self-assured, and yet somehow not haughty at the same time. This perfume doesn't kind of look down on anybody around it. I just love it. I just love it. I often think of it in relation to Honor from Amouage, one of the more recent ones, one of the ones sort of creative directed by Christopher Chong. Honor makes an interesting comparison with this. Honor is wonderfully named because Honor, even though Honor is also super masculine, super refined, super confident, it kind of takes a back seat. It's not in your face like this one. Whereas even though this one is in your face, you don't mind it being in your face. Is any of this making any sense? See, somebody's jinxed it now because they said I can talk and smell at the same time. But classic choice for today, Gold Man from Amouage, 1983, Guy Robert. If you've never smelt it, please do. Who was it? Was it David? Was it you? No, it wasn't David. Who is spraying it now? I'm sorry, I'm going to get your name wrong and I need to have my knuckles wrapped. But is it Elvanui? Is that right? How are you doing with your spray? I think we can very safely assume that Gold Man would have been reformulated at some point. It probably smelt even funkier in the 80s, but doesn't matter. The job has been very, very well done. And it's a beautiful companion piece as well to Gold Woman. It's so good. It's so good. Strange how soapy it turns on me. Yeah, soapy is an interesting word actually, because I think a lot of the time when some people say soapy, they mean powdery and vice versa. But yeah, I know what you mean. That will be the sort of balsams and the resins doing that. But I don't mind that. I like part of that effect at the end. And David says, your description of symphonic and clear makes me think if Mozart wrote with the grandeur of late romantic symphonic colours. Okay, just by making that one comment, you clearly know way more about classical music than I do, so we will go with that. But I think, oh no, David is the one trying that. Yeah, sorry, I thought it was. Oh, and perfect pronunciation from El Vanui. Okay, great, thank you. Nice name, by the way. Is that does that name mean anything? Does that come from anywhere in particular? Yes, there is something of the grandness of Mozart, and yet Mozart's music. He never lost control, did he? He was always in charge. Oh, it's from Tolkien. Ah. So is that your real name, or is that just like your YouTube name? Grandeur is the wrong word because Mozart had grandeur. No, but I don't know. Well, it's a kind of romantic grandeur, I suppose. Oh, let's have a debate about classical music now. A name from Tolkien. So is it an elvish name? It's just a nickname. Well, we can call you that if you like. Um, which character is it? I can't remember. Is it from Lord of the Rings or Hobbit or from one of the other ones? This is going to be a dodgy tangent to go down now. Right. So we ought to do one more. Um, and I know which one it should be. I just suddenly realised I had it in my head that we needed to do one more. I promised that I would do the new Guerlain, which is the latest flanker to L'Homme Idéal. This is L'Homme Idéal Intense, and we always need to do the last one fairly quickly because I don't like keeping people for more than an hour because I think, you have got lives. Excuse me. So while I'm unwrapping L'Homme Idéal Intense, I will just say you are watching and you have been watching episode 14 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise. If you have tuned in live on YouTube, I am most grateful. Perfume is our life. Well, it is actually. It is, David, or at least a big part of our life. Oh, sorry, I get what you mean. You have a life. Yeah, sorry. You're way ahead of me. And I shall sniff the other blotters very quickly in a second. And I think I just saw somebody nudging me to do something. Yeah, you were right. You were also going to talk about non-alcoholic bases. Thank you, Amy. Right, so who made that comment? I can't say that. That's... Oh, okay, it's Dutch Daedalus. I can say that, because actually, is it Dutch Daedalus? Dutch Daedalus, a few minutes ago, asked about non-alcoholic perfumes. Okay, so very, very, very quickly, you'll probably find more coherent information about this if you Google something like non-alcoholic perfumes. The most common solvent for a perfume which is not alcohol, and by the way, when we talk about alcohol, we should also say that there is water. There is a fair amount of water in perfumes as well. The most common one is an oil. A lot of Arabian, Arabic attars are actually oil-based, and there could be all sorts of unscented oils which could be carriers, and that is the key. They shouldn't really affect the smell of the perfume. If they do, then that is the perfumer's conscious decision to do that. You wouldn't really get a perfume which is 100% concentrated scented oils because that would just be overwhelming. I think it was Luca Turin or Tania Sanchez, one of them in their book, very, very aptly, because they do tend to get pretty much every single thing right. Their descriptions are usually spot on. They said that like smelling a 100% pure scented perfume concentrate would be like turning the volume of your sound system up to maximum. It's just this barrage of sound, and you can't actually really hear anything anymore or pick anything out anymore. So that incidentally is why we dilute perfumes, so that we can actually appreciate them and smell them. And sometimes perfumes work better at lower concentrations than they do at higher ones. There's usually a sweet spot that perfumers look for. They sort of tend to try perfumes in different increments, so they might try to 10% concentration, 12% concentration, whatever. And then they usually know when they've gone too high because they think, okay, now it's actually starting to smell too loud. But you also get completely water-based perfumes. I think a few episodes ago we did one of these water-based ones from the brand Bully, and they tend to go quite milky because a lot of scented oils do go milky in water. You get synthetic oil type solvents now as well for mixing perfumes in. Some, in inverted commas, I need to stop doing that. I've done that way too many times today. Some so-called oil-based perfumes are actually mixed in synthetics. The two new oils from Hermès, one is Cardamusk, which was partly inspired by yours truly. You're welcome. And the other one was Musk Pallida. I don't know for a fact whether they are actually in a natural carrier oil, but I know that somebody out there has said that they think they're in a kind of synthetic oil. Usually the oils that are called dry, you know how there's this thing now for dry oils that don't leave a film on your skin? I think they tend to be silicone type synthetic things. So, Dutch Daedalus, does that answer your question? I'm just going to go back and see what your question was. What are carrier agents other than alcohol? They use an alcohol-free scent. So, oils, water. Does the carrier agent actually affect the smell? It shouldn't, but it may affect the development because the oils tend to be heavy, which is why a lot of oil-based perfumes do actually tend to work better in hotter countries because they keep that perfume dragged down on your skin. I know that a few comments have been coming through as I was talking. Elvanui says it's Luthien Tinuviel's kind of pet name. It means elven maid. Very nice. And stop disappearing comments. Mr. Kelkfist says it would pretty much damage your skin. Yeah, that is a point as well. If you put completely neat oils, that would not be a good idea for your skin. It probably wouldn't be a good idea for your liver and kidneys. Elvanui says, does the pyramid work without alcohol? Always wanted to know. Yes, I think it would. And don't trust the pyramid anyway, necessarily. The pyramid is more than anything actually a marketing device because consumers out there seem to have accepted it and swallowed it, and so marketing departments of perfumes go with it as well. And David says, this is why I'm always a bit skeptical when brands change from eau de toilette to eau de parfum for no reason. They obviously thought the original concentration was the best choice. And its fashions, I mean, I'd need to check dates and things, but eau de parfum, as far as the history of perfume is concerned, is a relatively modern thing. I don't think we really had eau de parfum until, what was it, like late 70s, early 80s, something like that. Part of that, I would need to check my little historical notes, but I think part of that was also led by Estee Lauder because she made a more concentrated version of one of her perfumes in the States, and so then Europe felt it had to catch up. But yes, hope that answers your question. L'homme idéal intense very quickly because we're already almost at the 62-minute mark. Oh my goodness, you're going to kill me now. You're going to start saying the C word. Okay, I was quite fond of L'homme idéal when it first came out. Not something that I, personally would necessarily wear, but I thought from that run, there was a period when the major houses did quite a few new masculines. I skipped a question. Did I skip a question? You skipped my beloved man question, so we'll post it again. Where was that question? Did I miss it? So what's the question? Ask it again. Beloved man from Amouage. I seem to remember in my head that I liked it, but I'd need to check it out. I can't see the question. I can see Poufaki again. And I can see the M word and the C word and emojis of people puking. Ask me the question again. Sorry. But when Dior did Sauvage, when Chanel did Bleu, and then Guerlain came up with L'Homme Idéal, I thought, thank goodness, at least Thierry Vasseur isn't completely going down that crude, crass, predictable route, and he gave us something which came with a bit of heritage because it was almost like a sort of okay, here's the question. Sorry, I'll answer the question in a second because otherwise I'm going to completely go off on tangents. He gave us something with a little bit of heritage because in a way it kind of harked back to the almond notes that were used a lot by Guerlain in the 20s. It also seemed to have a link with Petit Robe Noir, so it was like a sort of male version of Petit Robe Noir. It was interesting and I liked it. And this, now this reminds me of something. Oh no, that's going to bug me because we're already gone over the hour and I'm probably going to need like a good 20 minutes to... Oh God, what does it remind me of? Something 80s maybe. But this is interesting. This is kind of like the... do I want to say that it's a little bit closer to the EDP, but it's much more firmly in Oriental territory. And it's got a nice kind of fired up rose note, kind of dusky. It is completely and utterly a mainstream release because Guerlain are not a charity. They need to make money with their pillar releases and their main flankers so that they can keep releasing more interesting things on the side. And it's got that kind of almondy, Oh God, my stomach growling again. It did this last time, sorry. The mic is right next to my stomach, so that's why you probably hear it even louder than I do. But it's doing that kind of fizzing. It's almost got a Coca-Cola sort of fizz to it, but maybe it's a bit like blackberry or something like that. Let me just see what it's officially meant to be. What have I got on this? I don't think I have much on this again. So, Guerlain launches L'Homme Idéal Intense in the spring of 2018 as a new flanker in the masculine line that includes the original L'Homme Idéal from 2014. Gosh, has it already been 4 years? The L'Homme Idéal Cologne from 2015, L'Homme Idéal Eau de Parfum from 2016, and L'Homme Idéal Sport from 2017. The scent is announced as a masculine, luxurious, elegant, oriental, woody, and spicy composition. Definitely spicy. Definitely something peppery in there. Intensity is the high point of this new interpretation. It contains notes of fiery spices like chili and cardamom. Maybe, yeah, that kind of coolness of cardamom, followed by heart of leather and Bulgarian rose based on smoked woody notes. Definitely kind of something smoky and woody. Thumbs up for what it is. Again, not reinventing the wheel. I like it. Years ago, when I would have been first getting into perfume, I would have bought this, I would have worn it, I would have enjoyed it. So, just rounding up questions then. How do you feel about Beloved Man? Not a very complicated one. Okay, I seem to remember liking it, but you know what? I'm pretty sure I reviewed it on my blog. So if you go to persolaise.com and search for Beloved Man or look in the index of reviews, maybe I can try to find it as well and put a link up at the at the bottom of the YouTube video. But I seem to remember liking it. I can't remember which one I preferred. Maybe I preferred Woman, although I tend to prefer the men's ones for Amouage. And then, what's this, from Mr. Kjelkvist? Might be the Frag community influenced me, but this release just feels really uninteresting. But then again, haven't smelt it, so might be great. No, I don't think you'll think it's great. I think you'll think it's fine. I don't think at all for a second that you will think it's rubbish, because it's not. And actually, the rose note with the burnt elements is quite nicely done. It is just still so miles away from Sauvage and Bleu de Chanel and all of those really, really crass, mindless masculine releases. Like some of the things maybe from Mont Blanc, even though the latest one from Mont Blanc is not so bad. So you might like it. And it really reminds me of something. I'm going to have to think of what it reminds me of and leave a comment at the end of the video. So, time for us to start rounding up. Let's just very quickly try the other blotters. This is the Louis Vuitton Oud that we started with. Ooh, it's got dirtier. It was nicer, a lot darker now, a lot woodier. Definitely more interesting than when it started. Okay, and then the L'Artisan Cologne, Champ de Fleurs. Still quite dry, quite indolic. I wouldn't say it's a must try, but yeah, interesting. The Kurkdjian Aqua Celestia Forte. That's quite nice. But we had this debate earlier, didn't we? It doesn't have that same uplift as the original version, but you can kind of tell that it will last. And then, I did gold. Coming across as quite leathery on the blotter. And we also did L'Homme Idéal from Guerlain. Maybe it reminds me of a rose, a limited edition rose that Miller Harris did a few years ago. I think I mean Miller Harris. So, thank you so much for tuning in. I saw one more comment. Next episode, I would really like to see you have a go at Nudiflorum by Nasomato. Yeah, I've heard a bit about that. I don't have a sample yet. I'll see if I can try and get hold of a sample. But, ladies and gents, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure I have taken up way too much of it. Please give me thumbs up and likes wherever you are watching. David says, thanks for another great episode. Thank you. I hope you like live chats here. Absolutely. I do it mainly because of the live interaction. I love the interaction. Great to see you again. Great to interact with you all. Lots of thank yous coming in. Do you know what? I feel as though there has been actually more interaction on YouTube than there was on Facebook. Facebook, you need to up your game. I'm just actually looking at my screen. Oh, do you like any Maison Violet Le Galion Laboratorio Olfattivo? You can't ask me that now. Hang on. Have a great weekend. Should we come back to that one? And don't do Facebook. We love you. I love you too. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend, everybody. Who's going to be watching the Avengers movie at the weekend? I think I'll probably be watching it. Right, I am looking at my screen now, thinking, how do I stop this? Oh, I think I've just realised where I stop it. And thank you very much for the YouTube help earlier as well. You have been a wonderful audience, ladies and gents. Episode 14 of Love at First Scent is now over. Look after yourselves. Bye now.